Chapter 1565. Yuanwan stood outside the house, utterly bewildered. What in the world did Big Dipper just say? Sis Feng. Big Dipper didn't allow Yuanwan a chance to say anything and meaningfully advised, Sis Feng, I'm not lecturing you, but you're clearly uninterested in Emperor Ji and Lord Azura, so why didn't you say anything earlier? Even if you discovered their secret, you can keep it from Old Seven, but you shouldn't have kept it from me. Don't you know about my tight lips? I never speak carelessly, Yuanwan, Sis Feng, be more considerate next time. When Emperor Ji and Lord Azura are being lovey-dovey and intimate, you should walk away. Don't act unnecessarily and act as a third wheel, Big Dipper continued prattling. Old Seven, your lips are too loose. You mustn't disclose it to other people, and it has to stay between us, Big Dipper said as he promptly turned to 7 Star. Before Big Dipper could continue, a squeak was heard and the door was opened from the inside. Ji Xiuran had a faint smile on his face as he walked out with Lord Azura following shortly after him. So soon? Big Dipper was taken aback when he saw them appearing. Ah, don't be a stranger. Think of this as your house and play however you want, Big Dipper chuckled, thinking that Emperor Ji and Lord Azura were too embarrassed. We've had enough fun, Ji Xiuran replied with a light chuckle while looking at Big Dipper. Right. You're right, Emperor Ji. The length of time isn't important, what's important is happiness. Having fun is the most important thing. Big Dipper turned to 7 Star. Old Seven, am I right? 7 Star looked a bit embarrassed and opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but he couldn't say anything. President Bai, we had a pleasant conversation today. I'll visit you at night again soon, Lord Azura said to Yuanwan. Yuanwan fumed silently. Lord Azura aloofly glanced at Ji Xiuran before leaving the unlucky house. Come frequently, Lord Azura. Consider this your own home and play however you want. You mustn't be a stranger. Big Dipper ran to the front and shouted while watching Lord Azura leave. Yuanwan, you freaking. Excuse me, can I have a private conversation with your Sis Feng? Ji Xiuran asked Big Dipper with a chuckle. Big Dipper was startled. Emperor Ji, Old Seven and I found some good-looking antidotes for the side effects of Sis Feng's goo poison. Can we wait until Sis Feng is treated? Yuanwan finally cursed, at the end of her patience, didn't I freaking tell you I don't need it? Fine. Sis Feng. Then we'll wait until you're interested in a few days. Have a good chat with Emperor Ji. Old Seven and I will go now. After saying that, Big Dipper led a group of men away from the unlucky house without looking back. Sorry for the disturbance, 7 Star apologetically said to Yuanwan and Ji Xiuran before quickly following Big Dipper and leaving. Now, only Ji Xiuran and Yuanwan were left in the enormous mansion. Yuanwan didn't know whether to stand or sit when she saw how unaffected Emperor Ji looked. What's this man thinking? Was I pretty much caught cheating in bed? Why does this feel weird somehow? Xiao Feng. Ji Xiuran stared at Yuanwan and chuckled. Brew some tea for me. Chapter 1566. Brew some tea. Okay, Yuanwan headed to the living room. Moments later, she was sitting by the coffee table and pouring a cup of tea for Ji Xiuran. Ji Xiuran drank the cup of tea in one gulp. Why, are you drinking tea in the middle of the night? Yuanwan looked confused. To reduce the heat, Ji Xiuran replied with a calm smile. Yuanwan, can you stop smiling? It'd be good if you got angry. Why do I feel so scared? Xiuran, let me explain. What happened today isn't what you think. Lord Azura came because, right, he came to discuss a collaboration with me. Yuanwan said confidently. However, Ji Xiuran didn't entertain her topic and said with a detached smile, an instructor at Scarlet Flames Academy owes me a favor. I talked to him a few days ago, so you can go to Scarlet Flames Academy. Go to Scarlet Flames Academy? Yuanwan was baffled. Weren't we talking about my situation with Lord Azura? Why did Scarlet Flame's Academy suddenly come up? Moreover, why does Ji Shuran want me to go to Scarlet Flame's Academy for no reason? To be an instructor. Shuran, why am I going to Scarlet Flame's Academy? Yi Wanwan didn't understand. Just go, Ji Shuran replied with a smile. Yi Wanwan, she did have plans to go to Scarlet Flame's Academy though. If that headmaster was willing to help her, perhaps she could recover her memories. However, she was the president of the Fearless Alliance, and with Scarlet Flame's Academy's temperament, there was no way they'd like the Fearless Alliance, not to even mention whether their headmaster would assist her. This is the recommendation letter. Just show them my recommendation letter after you arrive at Scarlet Flame's Academy. Ji Shuran took out a letter from somewhere and handed it to Yi Wanwan. Alright then, Yi Wanwan accepted the letter. Although she didn't know what Ji Shuran intended, she wanted to go to Scarlet Flame's Academy. She was just worried she wouldn't be able to go. Ji Shuran was too considerate. What identity am I using to go to Scarlet Flame's Academy? Yi Wanwan asked with curiosity. A new student, he answered. A student again? I'm already tired of the student life, alright? I don't want to go to school again unless I'm a teacher. Shuran, you want the president of the Fearless Alliance to go to Scarlet Flame's Academy as a student? Yi Wanwan stared at Ji Shuran. I'm fine with that but I'm afraid the entire Fearless Alliance, from the members to the higher-ups, wouldn't accept it. How about you let me go there as an instructor or teacher or something? Ji Shuran shook his head. All the instructors at Scarlet Flame's Academy were promoted from within the academy itself. It would be very difficult for me, let alone you, to become an instructor at one of the 3 great academies. Also, you don't need to go as the president of the Fearless Alliance. You just need to adopt an alias. Yi Wanwan, adopting another alias. Ah, I suddenly remember. It's really busy at the Fearless Alliance lately. Yi Wanwan hastily exclaimed. Oh. Ji Shuran stared at Yi Wanwan meaningfully. Since it's like that, why don't we talk about your relationship with Lord Azura? As soon as Ji Shuran said that, Yi Wanwan smiled. Shuran. Actually, I wanted to experience Scarlet Flame's Academy for myself for quite some time now. I'll definitely go. Ji Shuran nodded lightly. Fine, Ji Shuran, you're crueler. It's late now, so I won't keep you anymore. Sleep soon. Ji Shuran stood up airily and turned to leave after bidding Yi Wanwan farewell. Chapter 1567, 1567. It was only after Ji Shuran completely left the premises that Yi Wanwan finally relaxed. Were they shooting a drama tonight? Did it have to be so melodramatic? Soon, Yi Wanwan entered her bedroom. Great White was lying on the bed and peering at Yi Wanwan from the corner of his eyes. Yi Wanwan stood on the side of the bed and harshly glared at Great White. Your acting is pretty good, Great White. Great White turned his head to the side. I didn't realize how good you were at acting, baby. When we return to China, you and Little Black can be partners and I'll support your debut, how about it? Yi Wanwan sat on the bed and lifted Great White's head to place him on her lap. Virus suddenly straightened up from the floor when he heard Yi Wanwan mention his name. Great White stayed silent, occasionally sneaking a glance at Yi Wanwan. The night passed without a word. The next morning, after Yi Wanwan finished handling the Fearless Alliance's affairs, she drove to the Nye district and arrived at the Nye residence. Before she entered the Nye residence, she saw nameless Nye running out as though he was on fire. Sister Famous. Nameless Nye was taken aback when he saw Yi Wanwan. His expression turned mysterious at once. Sister Famous, oh my god, something big happened in the independent state. Something big? Yi Wanwan was baffled. What big thing could have possibly happened? What is it? Yi Wanwan asked. Nameless Nye looked around him before secretively saying, Sister Famous, this is an enormous secret, and it has a gigantic connection to you. Then tell me the freaking secret. Sister Famous. You know how I'm kind of considered a boss, the type that sells information. Look, this type of enormous information that's related to you, shouldn't you? Nameless Nya stared at Yuanwan while rubbing his hands together. Oh, don't tell me then. I'm uninterested. Yuanwan walked past Nameless Nya to head inside the house. Don't, my sister. Nameless Nya hastily blocked her. I'm telling you, it's absolutely worth more than your money. When have I ever tricked you? When haven't you tricked me? I guarantee it's true this time. Yuanwan sighed and took out a few $100 bills from her purse before handing them to Nameless Nya. If I'm not satisfied, I'll beat you to death today. Nameless Nya happily stowed away the bills in his pocket and mysteriously said, Sister Famous, when we were at the Shin family's banquet. I saw your boyfriend, Si Yihan. That's the gigantic secret in the independent state. Also, your boyfriend is actually Lord Azura. Although he didn't admit it, I think he looks very similar. Even if he's not your boyfriend, he's your boyfriend's biological brother. He might even be his biological dad. Yuanwan, also, did you know? Lord Azura actually likes men. Ji Shuran too. Ah, why is Shuran that kind of person? He actually has a thing with Lord Azura. These two people, what a pity. Nameless Nya grieved lamentably while shaking his head. Yuanwan looked at Nameless Nya with a frown. You're saying Ji Shuran and Lord Azura have that kind of relationship? Yes. Nameless Nya said. It's absolutely true. Where did you hear it? A foreboding feeling arose in Yuanwan's heart. Old pal Big Dipper told me, Nameless Nya snickered mischievously. I believe him. Chapter 1568 Yuanwan glanced at Nameless Nya. As expected, a cracked bell could never ring well. What do you think, Sister Famous? Is this piece of news explosive enough? Was your money well spent? Nameless Nya shot out question after question while staring at Yuanwan. Alright, I got it. Yuanwan sighed lightly and walked around Nameless Nya before entering the Nya home. Madam Nya, Nya Linglong, and Worryless Nya weren't home today. Yuanwan headed to Tangtang's bedroom with great familiarity. Mommy, Tangtang's eyes brightened as soon as Yuanwan appeared. Last night, Yuanwan didn't return to the Nya residence because she was meeting up with Lord Azura. Tang, Mommy brought you breakfast. Yuanwan opened the container and handed it to him. Thank you, Mommy. Tang accepted the container. Tang continued, Mommy, I'm done with what you asked me to do. He retrieved a small box from the side and placed it next to Yuanwan. Yuanwan carefully opened the box. There were several strands of black hair inside. Tang did a great job. Did your mom find out? Yuanwan asked softly. No. Tang shook his head. Mommy, what do you want to do with my mom's hair? Yuanwan furrowed her brows. She couldn't explain her plan to Tang. If Worryless Nya was really fake, it would be fine. But if she was real and she explained the reason to Tang, wouldn't she be doing something heinous? Tang, Mommy absolutely wouldn't do anything that'd hurt you. Can you trust Mommy about this matter related to the Nya family? Yuanwan asked gently while looking at him. Tang nodded without any hesitation. I trust Mommy. After leaving the Nya residence, Yuanwan wanted to find a DNA testing center as she held the box carrying Worryless Nya's hair. However, she found it unsuitable upon further contemplation. Who was the Nya family? They were one of the 4 great clans in the independent state. If Worryless Nya was really impersonated, the Nya family would definitely discover it. Moreover, there were so many DNA testing centers in the independent state, there was no way the Nya family didn't do a DNA test after finding Worryless Nya. If she was a fake, the results would show it. But if the results were positive, then it could mean 2 things. First, this Worryless Nya was the genuine one, and there weren't any problems. Second, this worryless Nya was an impersonator but possessed immense and terrifying power that could make the DNA testing centers in the independent state lie and fake the test results. If she brought Tang Tang and worryless Nya's hairs with her to test them, she would probably alert the enemy, and produce the opposite of the desired result. Of course, Yu Wanwan thought worryless Nya might be real and Yi Shuihan was simply overly suspicious. However, since she made a promise to Yi Shuihan, she would do it. After returning to the Fearless Alliance, Yu Wanwan called 7 Star and Big Dipper to her office. When Big Dipper saw Yu Wanwan sitting in her chair without uttering a word, he felt a bit guilty, perhaps due to his slightly loose lips. Sis Feng, last night, Big Dipper wanted to say something but was interrupted by Yu Wanwan. Is there anyone who knows about DNA testing in the Fearless Alliance? Yu Wanwan looked up at them. Chapter 1569, Yes. Big Dipper hastily said. Sis Feng, I do. What are you trying to identify? Antiques or jades or jewels? I have some knowledge in this area. 7 Star didn't refute it on this rare occasion. Not only did Big Dipper have some knowledge in this area, but he also spoke a dozen or so languages fluently. Back when the Fearless Alliance was negotiating with factions from other countries, Big Dipper was required to act as the translator for most of them. Then what about paternity testing? Yi Wanwan asked. Yes, I personally test it. Sis Feng, take it out and I can look at it for you. There are too many counterfeits these days. Big Dipper surveyed her. I'm talking about paternity testing, like how you aren't your father's son, that kind of identification. Yi Wanwan sighed. Big Dipper froze in his spot and stared at her in disbelief. I'm not my dad's son. Why? Whose son am I if I'm not my dad's son? Could it be that my mom's hiding something from me? Yi Wanwan involuntarily shivered, looking at Big Dipper. Was this guy pretending to be dumb or seriously dumb? Who in the world does Big Dipper resemble? If you said he resembled Nameless Nya, that'd be an insult to Nameless Nya. Nameless Nya's shrewdness was apparent from his methods of earning money. He was the type that proved the idiom, great intelligence may appear to be stupidity. As for Big Dipper, Sis Feng is talking about DNA identification like paternity or maternity testing, 7 Star explained dryly to Big Dipper. Oh, that's what you mean. It scared me to death. I don't know about DNA testing. Big Dipper shook his head. But First Elder knows. Good, then call First Elder here. Yi Wanwan waved her hand and had them leave. A moment later, First Elder in his red suit knocked on the door and entered after obtaining Yi Wanwan's permission. You were looking for me, President? First Elder already got a simple explanation from Big Dipper. Yes. Yi Wanwan nodded. Are you experienced in paternity testing, First Elder? First Elder was a bit confused. Why did the President suddenly mention paternity testing? I know a little. I'm not well versed, but I understand it, First Elder replied. Alright, understanding is enough. What equipment do you need? Yi Wanwan turned joyful. There was finally someone reliable. An elder of the Fearless Alliance was indeed an elder of the Fearless Alliance. A bowl is enough. It's just the blood drop method, it's simple, First Elder answered. Yi Wanwan's smile froze on her face. Never mind. You can leave, Yi Wanwan said. What freaking century was this? Blood drop testing. Didn't he have any scientific knowledge? Was he still living in ancient times? Ha, no need to be angry, President. I was just joking and lightening the mood. I do need a few advanced machines. But we can get the machines in half a day with the Fearless Alliance's methods and obtain the results in 2 days at most. First Elder chuckled. Did you have fun being mischievous? Alright. You can't allow anyone to learn of this matter, First Elder. Make the preparations. The faster, the better, Yi Wanwan instructed. President, if I may ask, Are you, suspecting if your father or mother isn't your biological parent? First Elder was brimming with curiosity. Although First Elder's words were true, it wasn't connected to this matter. Don't ask unnecessary questions, Yi Wanwan said. Chapter 1570 Understood, this subordinate will do it now. It'll be very fast. First Elder nodded and quickly left the office. Yi Wanwan sat and lightly knocked on the desk with both hands. Yi Xiaoting and Yi Mufan were still kept in custody, so she had to be as fast as possible in the next 3 months or so. First Elder was truly efficient in his work. Several essential machines were secretly transported to the Fearless Alliance in half a day, and he took the samples of Worryless Nya and Tang Tang from Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan merely needed to quietly wait a little while before she would get the results. At the same time, outside the Fearless Alliance headquarters, Worryless Nya sat in the car and icily smiled as she looked at the building. Little bitch. Your everything belongs to me, including your life. I'd like to see how miserably you'll die in the Fearless Alliance. Soon, the car door was opened, and the red-gowned socialite from the Shin banquet yesterday said to Worryless Nya, Worryless, just watch. That little bitch will definitely die. Not only does that little bitch want to steal your Tang Tang from you, but she also dared to impersonate the president of the Fearless Alliance. How dare a disgusting rotten worm like her delusionally wish to transform into a phoenix and soar to the heavens? Ha! Worryless Nya chuckled softly. I'll watch your performance then. Oh right, Worryless. Does Linglong know? Should we tell Linglong first? The red-gowned socialite asked. Worryless Nya snorted. You think Linglong would look at someone like her? Yes. You're right. I'm feel comforted then. The red-gowned socialite nodded and sashayed toward the Fearless Alliance. Several members of the Fearless Alliance watched as the red-gowned socialite entered the Fearless Alliance's lobby, and one of them asked impatiently, What are you doing? Tell your elders to come out, the red-gowned socialite demanded aloofly. What? The Fearless Alliance member was startled. Do you think you can see our elders just 'cause you want to? Do you know where you are? Let me tell you, I have some major classified information. Immediately tell your elders to come out and see me or else you won't be able to shoulder the blame, the red-gowned socialite said coldly. Before the Fearless Alliance member could respond, Third Elder Li Si walked into the lobby with a frown. What are you shouting about? Third Elder, this woman, says she has major classified information, the Fearless Alliance member reverently said as he immediately received Li Si. Li Si examined the red-gowned socialite. What major classified information? Elder. I'm telling you, your president of the Fearless Alliance is a fake. She's an impersonator. The red-gowned woman walked toward Li Si and swiftly said, She's actually a Chinese woman, and her name is Yi something Wan Wan, not by phone. She's an impersonator pretending to be your esteemed president. Oh. Third Elder sneered. Are you telling the truth? Of course. The red-gowned socialite nodded frantically. I wouldn't have the nerve to joke about a significant matter like this. I can ascertain it's the absolute truth that your president of the Fearless Alliance is an impersonator. However, as soon as the red-gowned socialite finished speaking, a chilly glint flashed through Third Elder's eyes and he lifted his right arm. Before she could react, a ruthless slap landed on her face. Slap. A crisp sound rang. The red-gowned socialite was stunned to her spot and she stared at Third Elder Li Si in disbelief. Chapter 1571 Missy, I think you ate a bear's hearts and leopard's gall or else where would you get the guts to slander the Fearless Alliance's president? Li Si coldly looked at the red-gowned socialite. He might have believed it if this was in the past, but ever since the president whipped the ass of Ironhead Gang's boss last time, who would dare to doubt the president's identity? I'm telling you the truth. You must have been deluded by that woman. You mustn't trust her, the red-gowned socialite insisted urgently. Ha, Missy, are you saying we can't even recognize our own president? Third Elder's lips turned up with a cold smile. Before she could respond, third elder impatiently waved her hand. Seize her and toss her into the dungeon. I'll report it to the president when she's free, and the president can decide whether to bury her alive or burn her to death. Several members of the Fearless Alliance rushed forward and picked up the red-gowned socialite like they were grabbing a chick. A member couldn't help but shake his head. This woman was seriously suicidal. These past few days, the president had been closer to First Elder, and Third Elder had felt gloomy and wanted to find an outlet to vent. You dare. I'm under Nya Linglong. You dare touch me. The red-gowned socialite was incensed. Who cares if you're under Nya Linglong? Even if you're under the Emperor of Heaven, you'd need to die for slandering President Fearless. Third Elder glanced at her before commanding the members to throw her into the dungeon. After watching the red-gowned socialite slapped by an elder and captured, worryless Nya's smile disappeared instantly. What happened? This didn't match her expectations at all. How did things degenerate to this extent? After, worryless Nya thought about it for a moment, a cold glint flashed through her eyes, and she drove away. Yi Wanwan didn't know about this small incident. 2 days later, the results from the DNA test came out, and First Elder entered the office with a report in hand. Upon seeing this, Yi Wanwan quickly made Big Dipper and 7-Star leave before telling First Elder to have a seat. What's the result, First Elder? Yi Wanwan asked. She didn't have any expectations since there was a very minute possibility that worryless Nya was an impersonator, but she needed to inform Yi Shuihan about the result regardless. President, the test results arrived. First Elder gently placed the report on Yi Wanwan's desk. Yi Wanwan skimmed the test report but couldn't understand it. Tell me the result directly, First Elder, she ordered. All right. First Elder nodded. President, the DNA doesn't match. Yi Wanwan's pupils contracted upon hearing that. The DNA didn't match, meaning. Yes, that means person A and B don't have any blood relations and are two complete strangers. First Elder drank a sip of tea and calmly explained to Yi Wanwan. A raging storm tore through Yi Wanwan's mind. This meant that worryless Nya was truly an impersonator and wasn't Tang Tang's biological mother. Are you certain about the result of this report, First Elder? Could there be any errors? Yi Wanwan frowned. She couldn't be careless about this matter since it was related to Tang Tang's entire life. President, you're worrying too much. Even if you don't believe in me, you should believe in science. If it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. The accuracy is 99.9%, so there couldn't have been any errors. First Elder was convinced. Chapter 1572. In his chair, First Elder languidly sipped from his cup of tea before looking at Yi Wanwan and chuckling. Don't worry, President, the test report is 100% accurate and doesn't have any errors for sure. Yi Wanwan didn't doubt what First Elder said. It was just that she didn't expect the current worryless Nya to really be an impersonator. Alright, I understand. Don't mention this matter to anyone, Yi Wanwan instructed First Elder. First Elder stood up and nodded. No worries, President. I understand the things I should and shouldn't say. After saying that, he turned around and left the office. Yi Wanwan's brows locked together as she stared at the report in her hand. She didn't expect a task from Yi Shuihan to elicit a torrential storm. Yi Wanwan soon left the Fearless Alliance and drove to Yi Shuihan's house. Yi Shuihan, Yi Wanwan called out as she knocked on the door. A moment later, the door was opened. Yi Shuihan was wearing pajamas and sleepily looking at Yi Wanwan. Knight Errant Yi, I have results from the matter you had me investigate last time, she quickly said. And, come inside first. Yi Shuihan turned to head back inside the house. Close the door after you enter. After entering the living room, Yi Shuihan sat on the sofa and turned on the TV. Yi Wanwan's lips twitched when she saw the TV screen. It was a cartoon. What are the results? Yi Shuihan asked without looking away from the TV. Not good, Knight Errant Yi. The second miss at the Nye family right now isn't the real one, she's a fake, Yi Wanwan swiftly replied. Okay, Yi Shuihan nodded indifferently. We'll talk later. Let me finish watching this part first, can't you act more concerned? Is the cartoon that fun to watch? Although Yi Wanwan thought that, she didn't dare to voice anything and could only wait for Yi Shuihan to finish watching his cartoon. In this fashion, half an hour passed. Yi Shuihan looked a bit disappointed as he pressed the remote and turned off the TV. What are the results? What did you say? Yi Shuihan turned to Yi Wanwan and asked. Damn you. Knight Errant Yi, the situation is bad. Second Miss Nya, Tang Tang's mother, is an impersonator, she's a fake, Yi Wanwan was forced to repeat. How do you know? Yi Shuihan questioned. Yi Wanwan looked bewildered. Didn't you tell me to look into it? Oh, I was just casually mentioning it back then. Do you have proof? Yi Shuihan was expressionless. Yes. Yi Wanwan walked forward and handed the test result to him. He accepted the report and inspected it for a moment before saying, I can't understand it. Tell me. This is Tang Tang and Worryless Nye's maternity test result. Their DNA doesn't match, and they don't have any blood relations. Yi Wanwan explained. That's strange then. All the testing centers in the independent state produced identical test results, but it changed when you did it? Yi Shuihan was pensive. I have a friend who owns a small lab, the private kind. I had him test it. The results are 100% accurate, Knight Errant Yi Wanwan said. Understood. Thanks for the trouble. He nodded at her. Chapter 1573 Yi Wanwan smiled. Everything would be resolved easily with Yi Shuihan's input. However, she stood next to the sofa and waited for half a day but there was no continuation. Knight Errant Yi, what's the next step? Yi Wanwan asked voluntarily as she couldn't bear it anymore. Next step? Yi Shuihan looked baffled. The next step depends on you. What? Yi Wanwan was stunned. Yi Shuihan wasn't going to do anything. Knight Errant Yi, it was you who made me investigate. Now that we discovered something, you aren't going to do anything. It was you who planted the tree, so now you have to pick the fruits yourself. Aside from matters concerning the ancient clans, I won't interfere in any conflicts between any of the factions in the independent state, let alone family problems. Think of a solution yourself. Yi Shuihan yawned. Could you be any more freaking deceptive? Yi Wanwan swore that if it weren't for the fact that she couldn't beat him, she would definitely club his head. He asked her to do the work but did nothing himself. How was he fitting to be Tang Tang's master? I'm tired. Want to take a nap together? Yi Shuihan lay back on the sofa and covered himself with a blanket as he asked Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan sighed. Forget it, I'll go and resolve this matter first. Help me close the door when you leave, he instructed upon seeing her leave. Close it your ass. Of course, Knight Errant Yi. Yi Wanwan was beaming as she gently closed the door. After returning to the Fearless Alliance, Yi Wanwan summoned Big Dipper and 7 Star to her office. Currently, those two were the only people Yi Wanwan trusted inside the Fearless Alliance. After she told them the whole story, they were astonished and stunned. Big Dipper, if you tell other people about this matter, you don't need to come to work tomorrow. Yi Wanwan seriously stared at Big Dipper. Yi Wanwan was a bit uncertain about Big Dipper's loose lips, but she did still trust him about this kind of situation. Sis Feng, how could you say that? I know what's important and not. I wouldn't tell anyone even if my life was threatened. Big Dipper hastily protested. Sis Feng, this is an extremely important matter to the Nye family, but it's unrelated to the Fearless Alliance. However, if you tell the truth to the Nye family, they would definitely be grateful to the Fearless Alliance. It is a feasible option, 7 Star said after a moment of thought. Bullshit. Big Dipper frowned. This matter definitely isn't as simple as it appears, Sis Feng. The Nye family is one of the 4 great clans in the independent state. If there wasn't someone powerful behind the impersonator, how could she have deceived the Nye family? Additionally, many of the test centers in the independent state gave the result that the impersonator is indeed the second miss of the Nye family, which shows how terrifying the power behind her is. You brought your brain to work today. Yi Wanwan looked at Big Dipper, surprised that he even managed to make that conclusion. Sister Worryless, listen to me first. Our fearless alliance doesn't have an amicable relationship with the Nye family to begin with, and you tricked the Nye family quite a lot in the past, so why would they believe the fearless alliance's president? Instead, they'd probably think the fearless alliance is sowing dissension and stirring trouble. Also, we'd definitely alert the enemies and cause the fake worryless Nye to become cautious. If that happens, it'd be harder to expose her than ascending to the heavens, Big Dipper analyzed. Yi Wanwan nodded, amazed at Big Dipper's performance today. She felt like her son finally grew up. Sis Feng, Big Dipper's right. I didn't think it over thoroughly enough before, 7 Star said. Chapter 1574, Then how do you think we can expose the impersonator? Yi Wanwan asked. Sis Feng, the Nye parents love the current worryless Nye very dearly. We'd only enrage the Nye family if we told them rashly, and they might even act antagonistically toward the fearless alliance, so that's not feasible. Also, you know worryless Nye is an impersonator, but she isn't aware and on guard yet, so we have many opportunities and don't need to act impatiently, Big Dipper said. Yi Wanwan didn't refute him. Her identity was a bit awkward indeed. If she used her identity as the president of the Fearless Alliance, she would probably be kicked out of the Nye residence. If she used her identity as Yi Wanwan, her relationship with Tang Tang was somewhat special, and Madame Nye might think she had an ulterior motive for wanting to monopolize Tang Tang and kick away worryless Nye if she told Madame Nye rashly. This consequence would be more severe. Yi Wanwan originally wanted to inform nameless Nye first but erased that thought upon further contemplation. She was confident nameless Nye would definitely believe her with their relationship, but he would also definitely cause a ruckus at home with his personality. At that time, if the Nye family learned she was the instigator, not only would it be useless, but it'd also produce the opposite of the desired result. Nameless Nye's personality was too explosive, and there were too many uncertain factors. It would be difficult even if she ordered him to expose the fake worryless Nye according to her excuse. President. Third Elder pushed open the door and entered the room. There was a woman yesterday who came to the Fearless Alliance and claimed you were an impersonator. She also said she was connected to the Nye family, but I've imprisoned her in the dungeon. Should we kill her? Oh. Yi Wanwan was pensive when she heard that. The only people who knew her identity from the Shen family's banquet were Nye Linglong and the fake worryless Nye. Which meant this incident had to be related to those two. They wanted her to die. Unfortunately, the current Fearless Alliance was completely under her control. Yi Wanwan seriously suspected she might really be the president of the Fearless Alliance, by Feng. Otherwise, why would the Fearless Alliance believe in her so much? Of course, she still needed to go to Scarlet Flame's Academy and have its headmaster help her and see if she could recover her memory. Just keep her guarded in the dungeon for now, no need to kill her yet, Yi Wanwan said after thinking about it. The woman who came to expose her identity was either instructed by Nye Linglong or the fake worryless Nye. Alright. Li Si nodded. I need to go out and take care of something. Call me if anything comes up. Yi Wanwan stood up and left the Fearless Alliance. Sometime in the afternoon, Yi Wanwan arrived at the Nye residence. In the living room, Madame Nye had a dark expression on her face as she said, Yi Wanwan is actually the president of the Fearless Alliance. She actually deceived me, Mom, I already told you. How could someone like her have any good intentions for coming to the Nye residence? Thank goodness we discovered in time, or else something big would have definitely happened. Worryless Nye sighed and said. Sister Worryless, let it go. Maybe Yuanwan didn't have any bad intentions, and merely wanted to see Tang Tang, Nia Linglong said. Linglong, you're still young. People like her are demons. Don't you know President Fearless' reputation in the independent state? Worryless Nia retorted with a frown. Nia Linglong sighed and didn't say anything else. At this time, Yuanwan had arrived outside the living room and saw Madame Nia's dark expression from a distance. Yuanwan didn't even need to think to know that those two informed Madame Nia about her identity as President Fearless. Chapter 1575. The Fearless Alliance provoked the Nia family many years ago, so the Nia family immensely disliked the Fearless Alliance, especially her, the president. Yuanwan's lips turned up. Since they wanted to play, she would stay till the end. The fake worryless Nia was absolutely connected with Nia Linglong. Yuanwan heard that it was Nia Linglong who first discovered news of the impersonator and revealed the information to the Nia family. Yuanwan entered the room. As soon as she appeared, the three women in the living room turned to Yuanwan. Worryless Nia smiled. Madame Nia now knew this woman was President Fearless. It must be wonderful to be kicked out of the Nia family by her own mother. Madame Nia was about to speak with a dark expression when Yuanwan suddenly walked toward Madame Nia and pitifully said, "Auntie. Sorry. The exact reason I came here today was to tell Auntie Nia that I have another identity aside from Yuanwan." Worryless Nia furrowed her brows. What did this woman want to do? What identity? Madame Nia stared at Yuanwan. President Fearless, Yuanwan sighed. Madame Nia was obviously taken aback by her answer. Auntie, you should know that I once disappeared for a period of time. I got tired of the violent life, so I left the independent state and went to China. It's just that something happened at the Fearless Alliance recently, so I came back. In the independent state, it was Tang Tang who provided me with the warmth of a family, something that I never experienced before. It was especially so after I met you, Auntie, and you treated me so nicely. Back then, I was young and ignorant and offended the Nia family, so I didn't dare to tell you, Auntie, in fear of you disliking me. When you wanted to adopt me as a foster daughter last time, it was also because of this reason that I didn't dare to tell you the truth. I was afraid you'd hate me later. Yuanwan acted like a little girl who did something wrong and was afraid her mother would punish her. Madame Nia's dark expression eased quite a bit after hearing Yuanwan's explanation. Worryless Nia stared intently at Yuanwan. This woman seriously knows how to act. You're saying you lied to me because you were afraid I'd blame you? Madame Nia asked as she looked at Yuanwan. Yes. That's why, Auntie. If you don't believe me, you can ask Brother Nameless. He knows my identity since I never wanted to purposefully deceive you, Auntie, Yuanwan said. Call your brother here, Madame Nia told Worryless Nia. Before Worryless Nia could reply, Nameless Nia just happened to pass by the living room and interjected, Mom, why are you looking for your darling son? Did you want to give me pocket money? I have a question for you. Did you know she's President Fearless? Madame Nia asked. Huh? President Fearless? Nameless Nia was startled and looked at Yuanwan. Yuanwan blinked at him meaningfully. I knew. Of course I knew. Nameless Nia nodded frantically. If you knew, why didn't you tell me? Madame Nia's brows knitted together. I was afraid you'd be unhappy, Mom, Nameless Nia answered honestly. All right, you can leave. Madame Nia flicked her hand. Okay, Nameless Nia arrived bewildered and departed bewildered. Sorry that I lied to you, Auntie. I'll leave now, and won't appear in front of you again. Yuanwan slowly stood up. Wait. Madame Nia stopped her. Chapter 1576. Yuanwan turned her head and pitifully looked at Madame Nia. Worryless Nia's expression darkened. This woman seriously knew how to put on an act in front of Madame Nia. What Worryless Nia found hardest to accept was that Madame Nia appeared to be wavering already. Did she really believe this woman's bullshit? Madame Nie's tone softened a little and sounded like an older relative talking to a younger relative. If you are, you are. If you aren't, you aren't. Your auntie isn't some narrow-minded and petty woman. You were merely in your teens when you provoked the Nie family back then. Your auntie acted wilder than you when I was your age. What's there to hide? Auntie Nie, I'm sorry, Yi Wanwan sighed softly. Are you really sorry? Madame Nie asked with a slight frown. This girl's pitiful look made her heart ache for some reason, and a lot of her previous anger was pacified. Bro Flattop, the president of the Fearless Alliance, a devil-like woman who had a notorious reputation in the independent state, was acting like a little girl who did something wrong in front of her. By phone, the Fearless Alliance and the Nie family did have some animosities in the past, but thinking about it now, it's been many years now. We'll let bygones be bygones, Madame Nie said a moment later. Happiness flooded onto Yi Wanwan's face, and she immediately asked, then are you still angry? Auntie Nie. After a moment of contemplation, Madame Nie said, I'll forgive you this time. Nie Linglong icily looked at Yi Wanwan but didn't say anything. Mom. Worryless Nie walked forward and stopped next to Madame Nie. Mom, do you seriously believe this woman? She intentionally concealed her identity and approached the Nie family. She must have some secret she's hiding. Madame Nie looked at Worryless Nie and said, Worryless, Bai Feng didn't truly conceal her identity. Your brother knew her identity. Worryless Nie ground her teeth in anger. Madame Nie was still furious earlier but now spoke on this woman's behalf after listening to her nonsense. A frightening, cold glint sparkled in Worryless Nie's eyes. Did this woman think she was fine now? She would definitely make Madame Nie personally kick this woman out. By phone, Madame Nie called. Auntie Nie, keep calling me Wanwan. I'm more accustomed to that, Yi Wanwan said with a smile. Alright. Wanwan, did you consider what I mentioned last time about adopting you as my foster daughter? Madame Nie asked. Yi Wanwan was surprised. She didn't expect Madame Nie to want to adopt her as a foster daughter as soon as she pacified her anger. It wasn't difficult for Yi Wanwan to tell that Madame Nie truly liked her. Mom. How could you be so rash? She's President Fearless. Back then, the Fearless Alliance wasn't friendly toward the Nie family. She's President Fearless, so she must have ulterior motives for approaching the Nie family, Worryless Nie hastily said upon hearing Madame Nie's words. Worryless, Madame Nie looked at her daughter and asked with a frown, what's going on with you? I know what I'm doing. Chapter 1577, Worryless Nie clenched her fists and kept her emotions in check, trying to calm herself. Mom, I'm just worried. Auntie, let's forget it then. Don't harm your relationship with Worryless just because of me. I'm just an outsider, after all. Yi Wanwan sounded as though she had suffered an indescribable grievance. Yi Wanwan imperceptibly glanced at Worryless Nie. Does this impersonator really consider herself as the Miss Worryless of the Nie family and Tang Tang's biological mother? I, the professional impersonator, can outplay her any day. Since you want to play, it's only fun if you keep going. Otherwise, what's the point? Madame Nie appeared a little exasperated. Look at Wanwan compared to her own daughter, Worryless Nie. Worryless Nie's maternal grandfather took her with him from the Nie family when she was young, so Madame Nie didn't see Worryless many times, but her memories of Worryless' direct and frank personality was as clear as day. However, after she grew up, her personality gradually changed, and she became increasingly immature and inconsiderate. Madame Nie owed her daughter too much though, so she couldn't bear to lecture her daughter about it. Idiot. Nie Linglong sneered inwardly with an aloof glance at Worryless Nie. You're being led by your nose, but you still don't realize. Mom. I was wrong earlier, but I'm just worried since she's President Fearless. I don't want other people to successfully scheme against the Nie family. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but don't be angry at me, Mom. Worryless Nya discovered something amiss and immediately switched direction. It's fine. Spend more time with Wan Wan in the future. It was Wan Wan who helped you look after Tang Tang for a period of time in China, and you need to know how to be grateful as a person, Madame Nya said. Yes. Mom, you're right. I understand. Worryless Nya nodded, then coldly glanced at Wan Wan. Wan Wan, it's final then. I'll have someone prepare the ceremony, Madame Nya said to Wan Wan with a smile. Auntie Nya. I'm the president of the Fearless Alliance. If you adopt me as your foster daughter, I'm afraid. Wan Wan's face was brimming with worry. Madame Nya merely shook her head. You're the right and proper president of the Fearless Alliance. What would I lose to adopt you as my foster daughter? Moreover, you're using your identity as Wan Wan to acknowledge me as your foster mother, so it's unrelated to Bai Feng. All right. Thank you, Auntie. Wan Wan nodded in the end. For some reason, Wan Wan didn't want to reject Madame Nya at all and instinctively wanted to be close to her. Soon, the Nya estate's steward finished preparing tea and handed a cup to Wan Wan. Madame Nya sat in the upper chief seat while Nameless Nya, Nya Linglong, and Worryless Nya stood on the side. Wan Wan walked toward Madame Nya with the cup of tea in hand, then she knelt in front of Madame Nya and used both hands to hold up the tea. Auntie Nya, please drink some tea. Why are you still calling me Auntie? Madame Nya sounded displeased. Miss Wan Wan, the mother recognition ceremony is done, so you should refer to Madam as Mother, the Nya estate steward said to Wan Wan with a light chuckle. Mom, Wan Wan called softly. Great, Madame Nya accepted the cup of tea and drank it in one go. Then she took out a big red envelope and handed it to Wan Wan. Nameless Nya's eyes brightened upon seeing the red envelope. Wan Wan, you're a child of the Nya family from now on. The Nya family doesn't have many rules, but you must remember one thing, Madame Nya said with a solemn expression. Chapter 1578, What is it, Mom? I'll definitely follow it carefully. Wan Wan nodded. You mustn't give a single cent to Nameless Nya, Madame Nya said. Wan Wan, Nameless Nya, your eldest brother once swore that he wouldn't use a single cent from the Nya family ever again. If he does, the whole family will die, and the Nya family has always regarded oaths with utmost importance. Do you understand? Madame Nya explained. Yes, I understand, Wan Wan nodded. This rule seriously suited her liking too much. Mom. How about I renounce my parent-child relationship with you and Dad? Then we won't be a family anymore. What do you think of my idea, Mom? Nameless Nya asked hastily. Scram. Madame Nya became incensed instantly. I was just joking. Why'd you take it seriously? Nameless Nya chuckled awkwardly and swiftly zipped his mouth. Ha, Wan Wan, we're family from now on, Worryless Nya said to Wan Wan with a light chuckle as she suddenly walked forward. Yes, Worryless, we're family from now on. If I offended you in any way before, please forgive me, Wan Wan returned with a chuckle of her own. Since she accepted Madame Nya as her foster mother now, she could be considered half a child of the Nya family and didn't lack opportunities to inform the Nya family of the truth. However, this woman wasn't dumb and knew when to advance and retreat. After leaving the living room, Nameless Nya quickly chased after Wan Wan. He intently stared at her as he asked, My good sister, how much money is in the red envelope my mom gave you? Wan Wan started and glanced at him. What do you want? My good sister. I'm your older brother now, and we're family. You should share some with me, Nameless Nya beamed with an ingratiating smile. No. Mom said I'm a member of the Nya family now and can't give a single cent to you. Wan Wan briskly declined. What are you saying? Isn't your surname Yi still? Your surname isn't Nya, so even if my whole family dies, yours won't. You wouldn't lose anything, Nameless Nya retorted with a smile. Wan Wan thought over it for a minute before looking at Nameless Nya and saying, I would lose money, After getting rid of nameless Nya, Yu Wanwan went to the guest bedroom. At worryless Nya's adamant insistence tonight, Yu Wanwan was given a room of her own and didn't stay with Tang Tang. Tang Tang originally dissented, but Yu Wanwan told him to agree. If Tang Tang really made a fuss about it, the impersonator would act pitiful and cry about being innocent, which would then cause Madame Nya to think it was her fault for sowing dissent between Tang Tang and the impersonator's relationship. The impersonator's silent retaliation had begun, but Yu Wanwan didn't care. They had ample time, and what she said earlier still held true. If the impersonator wanted to play, then she'd play with her. She just hoped the impersonator wouldn't cower. In the wee hours of the morning, maybe due to switching to a new bed, Yu Wanwan found herself suffering from insomnia. Yu Wanwan grew increasingly curious about her own identity. Just who am I? She possessed a vague familiarity about many of the places in the independent state, as though she had been there before. Can I really be a resident of the independent state? Right now, Lord Azura still wouldn't admit he was Si Yihan, and Yu Wanwan couldn't do anything about it or obtain the truth from him. The days since her arrival in the independent state were like a dream. What was more unfathomable was what she did after getting drunk last time that caused the entire Fearless Alliance to lose all suspicion and stop doubting her identity as Bro Flattop. It was truly food for thought. If she wasn't President Fearless, there was no way the Fearless Alliance would submit to her with their personality and style. Chapter 1579. 1579. What kind of extremely cruel person was Third Elder Li Si? He was someone who could kill his own son but now held her in high esteem. He didn't look disloyal to her on the surface and acknowledged her wholeheartedly based on her observations. Both First Elder and Second Elder also treated her with respect and would even joke with her occasionally. All of this struck Yu Wanwan with disbelief. Just who am I? Could I really have been President Fearless, Bro Flattop, before I lost my memory? A moment later, Yu Wanwan called Big Dipper. Sis Fong, why are you calling me so late? Do you need something? Big Dipper answered instantly. Where are you? Yu Wanwan asked. I'm at the hospital to visit my mom, Big Dipper replied. At the hospital visiting your mom? Yu Wanwan was startled. Yeah. Didn't I say earlier? My mom was hit by a car and is at the hospital, Big Dipper said. Yu Wanwan face-bombed. So Big Dipper's mother really was hit by a car. She always thought Big Dipper's words were full of smoke and didn't contain a lick of truth. Now, it looked like she misjudged him. However, it really wasn't her fault. Everything Big Dipper said didn't sound like the truth. Big Dipper, I'm writing an autobiography right now, but there are some details I can't remember clearly. I wanted to ask you whether you remember how many years it's been since I left the independent state. Yu Wanwan asked. 4 years, Big Dipper replied frankly. Sis Fong, you're writing an autobiography? Put me in there. 4 years, Yu Wanwan murmured. Then she immediately hung up the phone without giving Big Dipper a chance to continue prattling on. Yu Wanwan vaguely remembered that it was also 4 years ago that the second miss of the Nya family, Worryless Nya, disappeared. Did that mean Worryless Nya and Bro Flattop disappeared at the same time? Could it be? Worryless Nya was Bro Flattop. Yu Wanwan's expression shifted. If I'm Bro Flattop, then I. However, as soon as that thought surfaced, it was squashed instantly. It was utterly unrealistic. If Worryless Nya really was Bro Flattop, how could Madame Nya, Nameless Nya, and the rest of Nya family not know about it? Furthermore, Bro Flattop wreaked havoc for the Nya family back then too. There were simply too many coincidences. Yu Wanwan felt like her mind wasn't enough to process everything. She couldn't make an accurate judgment on whether she was Bro Flattop or not. I hope the headmaster of Scarlet Flames Academy can help me recover my memory, Yu Wanwan murmured with a soft sigh. Everything was a futile effort right now, the truth would only be revealed if she recovered her memory. And her only hope to regain her memory was Scarlet Flames Academy. Aside from that, Yu Wanwan decided she should make a trip to China soon. It wasn't advantageous to drag out Yi Xiaoting and Yi Mufan's situation for too long. Moreover, she now had control over the Fearless Alliance. If she could bring some people from the Fearless Alliance back to China, the mutiny in the Xi family could be easily resolved. As for Yi Yi and her cohorts, they should clean their necks and wait for her. Yi Wanwan came to a decision. After heading to Scarlet Flames Academy and enrolling as a new student, she could return to China. The night passed without a sound. Next morning, in her sleepy state, Yi Wanwan vaguely heard her phone ring and reflexively answered the call. Morning. A gentle voice was emitted from the phone. Ji Xiuran. Yi Wanwan shot up immediately, all trace of drowsiness dispersing. Xiao Feng, you should go to Scarlet Flames Academy and report there, Ji Xiuran said softly. Chapter 1580, Go to Scarlet Flames Academy and report there. Yi Wanwan was startled. She originally thought she still had some time and didn't expect the time to come so fast. Yes. Ji Xiuran's light chuckle was heard through the phone. Go there sooner to avoid unnecessary complications. Unnecessary complications, Yi Wanwan was speechless. Did she look like someone who liked to cause unnecessary complications? Alright, I understand. Is there anything else? She asked. Don't forget to bring the recommendation letter I gave you, and take more experts from the Fearless Alliance with you. The areas around the 3 great academies aren't too peaceful. If you don't find it troublesome, I can have Skeleton escort you, Ji Xiuran instructed her gently. Yi Wanwan automatically shook her head and hastily said, no need for the trouble. I can gather some people when I'm back at the Fearless Alliance. Okay. Contact me at any time if a problem arises. Then, Ji Xiuran hung up. Yi Wanwan fell back onto her pillow and slept for a bit more. When she woke up again, she washed up and greeted Madame Nie good morning. However, she didn't mention she was going to enroll at Scarlet Flames Academy later. The 3 great academies of the independent state were a bit particular in that they maintained a neutral position. They didn't offend any party but could offend any party at the same time. The 3 great academies accepted mercenary missions from any country, including assassinating the heads of the 4 great clans. Even Emperor Ji and Lord Azura had their names featured in the charts of the 3 great academies. Aside from assassination missions, there were also many bizarre and peculiar missions. Yi Wanwan even heard a Fearless Alliance higher-up mentioning that someone from a mercenary academy wanted a strand of Lord Azura's hair. The mission had been posted for many years, but no one could finish it, so this mission had been raised to S+ level. None of the factions in the independent state liked the mercenary academies, but no one would offend them either. If Yi Wanwan informed Madame Nie that she was heading to Scarlet Flames Academy, Madame Nie would probably object, so it would be better to just not mention it. After leaving the Nie residence, Yi Wanwan drove back to the Fearless Alliance. It was only after arriving at the Fearless Alliance that Yi Wanwan realized Big Dipper sent her a text telling her he was taking a day off to keep his mother company at the hospital. Yi Wanwan didn't mind. She took out her makeup and started messing with her face in front of a mirror inside the office. About an hour later, Yi Wanwan nodded with satisfaction at her image in the mirror. This was perfect. Her makeup guaranteed that even her real parents wouldn't recognize who she was. This chapter is scrapped from Read Light Novel. Sis Phone, the office door was opened, and 7-Star entered expressionlessly while carrying a stack of documents. As soon as Yi Wanwan turned around, 7-Star was taken back. The duo blankly stared at each other in silence. Who are you? 7-Star took a step forward, and his figure arrived in front of Yi Wanwan with a cold glint in his eyes like a ghost. An extremely ugly woman actually sneaked into the office of the Fearless Alliance's president? However, Yi Wanwan was immensely satisfied by 7-Star's reaction. It appeared her makeup wasn't bad indeed. Even 7-Star didn't recognize her. What are you panicking about? Yi Wanwan asked with a frown. 7-Star's right hand, which was reaching for Yi Wanwan, froze in midair. He didn't recognize the face, but the voice was very familiar. Sis. Sis Feng. Disbelief and shock were shooting out of Seven Star's eyes as she stared at the ugly-looking Yi Wanwan. Chapter 1581, Yes, it's me. Yi Wanwan nodded. Sis Feng, what are you? After confirming Yi Wanwan's identity, Seven Star became more shocked. Why does she suddenly look like this? You really can't recognize me with this makeup on? Yi Wanwan asked with a smile. Seven Star shook his head. Sis Feng, this is makeup. I thought it was the art of disguise. Yi Wanwan laughed. Some women's superior makeup skills were no different from the art of disguise anyway. Sis Feng, you look like you changed heads, Seven Star said after a moment of thought. This is called changing face. Yi Wanwan glanced at Seven Star. Seven Star, place the documents on the desk, then call First Elder and Third Elder here, she instructed. All right. Seven Star nodded and did as she asked before leaving the office. A moment later, First Elder and Third Elder entered Yi Wanwan's office at the same time, both afraid they'd fall behind the other person. Press, Third Elder was about to call but became stunned when he saw Yi Wanwan's hideous makeup. He darkly shouted, Who are you? How dare you trespass into the Fearless Alliance's territory? What's the panic? Yi Wanwan glanced at Third Elder. Don't you recognize me? President? Third Elder was flabbergasted upon hearing Yi Wanwan's voice. This woman is the president of our Fearless Alliance. Why did she switch heads? I'm about to head to Scarlet Flames Academy. Accompany me there, but you can leave after dropping me off at Scarlet Flames Academy, Yi Wanwan said. First Elder and Third Elder were both higher-ups of the Fearless Alliance and rarely made public appearances, nor did they have any interactions with the three great academies. They were unlike Seven Star and Big Dipper, who were active members in the independent state and easily recognized. President, why are you going to Scarlet Flames Academy? First Elder looked at Yi Wanwan with incomprehension. To go undercover, Yi Wanwan answered. As the president of the Fearless Alliance, she naturally couldn't tell the elders that she was going to enroll in Scarlet Flames Academy as a student. How disgraceful would that be? However, if she said she was going undercover, it sounded all right. First Elder and Third Elder met each other's eyes. I recently heard that someone issued a mission at Scarlet Flames Academy asking for my head, so I'm using my current appearance to enroll at Scarlet Flames Academy as a student for a semester. I'll locate the person who issued that mission and eliminate them and their family, Yi Wanwan made up an excuse. First Elder smiled. No wonder. This was something our President Fearless would do. I see. Third Elder was pensive. Who was so suicidal and just had to offend their president? Come over here, you two. I'll also do your makeup, Yi Wanwan said to First Elder and Third Elder. President, we rarely appear publicly in the independent state. The people from Scarlet Flames Academy probably won't recognize us, so we don't need any makeup, First Elder said. Quiet. Sit here, Yi Wanwan commanded with a frown. It would be better to do their makeup for safety reasons. If they were recognized, how would she, President Fearless, get by in the independent state in the future? First Elder and Third Elder sighed helplessly. Since resistance was futile, they could only behave and allow Yi Wanwan to do whatever she pleased. After a round of fumbling, Yi Wanwan nodded with satisfaction as she examined the two elders' makeup. They looked like they had aged a decade or so. After finishing the preparations, First Elder summoned an elite member of the Fearless Alliance. This member was in his 60s but looked spirited and vigorous and had superb martial arts skills. Chapter 1582, President, when the time comes, we won't enter the academy in case we're recognized. To avoid suspicion, he will lead you inside the academy, President, First Elder explained. All right. Yi Wanwan said. Greetings, Madam President. The elderly man was bursting with excitement when he saw Yuan Wan. This ugly-looking woman standing in front of him was the boss of the Fearless Alliance, Bro Flattop. No need for politeness, Yuan Wan said with a smile. Thank you, President, the elderly man nodded frantically. Soon, the group of 4 left the Fearless Alliance and drove to Scarlet Flames Academy. President, a student from Scarlet Flames Academy tried to assassinate piece of shit earlier, but I heard there's no news of them anymore, First Elder informed Yuan Wan inside the car. Assassinate piece of shit? Yuan Wan wore a strange expression. Which student was so suicidal and accepted this kind of suicidal mission? They had no one to blame but themselves. Since there was no news, Shuehan probably took care of him. Shuehan wasn't easy prey, after all. The 3 great academies were all mercenary academies and didn't target any specific person or group. They would accept any mission that was suitable, and their students would be responsible for completing them. However, there were some super difficult missions that most people normally wouldn't accept. For example, obtaining a strand of hair from Lord Azura or obtaining a ring from Emperor Ji. In the case of a mission like obtaining Shuehan's life, only idiots or suicidal people would accept it. Otherwise, no mercenary would accept that kind of mission. Half a day later, Third Elder drove the car to the base of a mountain. Scarlet Flames Academy, one of the 3 great mercenary academies, was located at the top of the mountain and prohibited the entry of cars. Any visitor had to enter the academy by foot. As people said, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. They had no choice but to leave the car. This journey wasn't too peaceful, just like Ji Xiuran said. There was an extremely large amount of students participating in the entry examination this year, and Yuan Wan witnessed many intense fights that erupted for no reason. However, their journey was still fairly peaceful and smooth. You two can leave. Yuan Wan flicked her hand at First Elder and Third Elder. President, we'll escort you up the mountain. Third Elder was all smiles. No need. Leave, Yuan Wan declined. Third Elder, did they suffer such geriatric-looking makeup and a long and intense journey just to chat with the president in the car and keep her from being bored? No way would the 2 elders realize that their president took them with her merely in fear of accidents happening during the journey, thus needing them as bodyguards. Since they safely arrived at the destination, it was naturally time for the 2 elders to leave. And so, First Elder and Third Elder were forced to leave. The elite member of the Fearless Alliance was kept back though. The people participating in Scarlet Flames Academy's examination were typically composed of the younger generation of major factions and normally needed to have clansmen with them. Even normal people needed to bring family members with them. This was because Scarlet Flames Academy needed to figure out the family situations of enrolling students in case no family members came to pick up the corpses if students failed their missions and were killed. Elderly sir, what's your name? Yuan Wan asked with a soft chuckle as she looked at the elite members standing next to her servilely. President, you're overwhelming me. Please call me Little Lu, the elderly man answered with trepidation. An elderly man, who is obviously in his 60s, is calling himself Little Lu. I really can't say it out loud. Chapter 1583, How about you pretend to be my grandfather, and I'll pretend to be your granddaughter? Yuan Wan asked him with a smile. President, that'd be inappropriate. This subordinate wouldn't dare. The elderly man frantically shook his head. Calling the president fearless his granddaughter? Was that a joke? You should know about Scarlet Flames Academy. If you don't pretend to be my grandfather, how can I sneak in and go undercover as a student? The elderly man visibly struggled for a moment before finally nodding. Then. All right. But you must pardon me for my disrespect, President. It's no offense, no offense. I'll give you an extra drumstick and add a merit to your file when we get back, Yuan Wan said with a smile. Okay. The elderly man nodded lightly. Soon, Yuan Wan and the elderly man started hiking up the mountain. On the way there were many young men and women from the major and minor clans in the independent state appearing like a tide and rushing up the mountain. "Elder Lu, is that you?" A cheerful voice was heard from behind them. The elderly man looked behind him. "President Fearless, this is an elder from a patrician family located near the Fearless Alliance's territory," the elderly man, Elder Lu, quietly informed Yuan Wan. The new elder soon arrived in front of them with a young man and woman behind him. "Elder Lu, this is..." The elder looked at Yuan Wan. "My granddaughter," Elder Lu answered aloofly. "Oh, you actually have a granddaughter? Didn't your son die many years ago? I thought your Lu family bloodline was extinct. However, if she's only your granddaughter, it's the same as your line going extinct," the elderly man said with an airy chuckle. Elder Lu's expression shifted, but he didn't want to say anything, not wanting to cause unnecessary complications. "Elder Lu, look at how thin and fragile your granddaughter is. Why did you let her come to Scarlet Flame's Academy to enroll? I reckon she'll die in a mission eventually, so you should take her home now," the elderly man continued with a smile. "That's none of your business," Elder Lu said coldly. "Ha, I was just being kind. Forget it if you're ungrateful. Say, your martial arts are mediocre, so your granddaughter's martial arts must also be very average. Scarlet Flame's Academy is one of the 3 great mercenary academies in the independent state, so their entry requirements are very strict. I don't think your granddaughter can even pass the first round of examinations. Even if she passes, she won't turn out to be much in the future, so why don't you have her follow your path and enter the Fearless Alliance? After she becomes a member of the Fearless Alliance, it wouldn't be a problem for her to just scrape together a living until she dies." The elderly man guffawed. After the young man and woman behind the elderly man glanced at Yuan Wan, contempt filled their faces, and they both shook their heads while chuckling. This girl was incredibly ugly. What could she use to get into Scarlet Flames? Was she going to use her face to scare the examiners to death? "Thank you for your concern," Elder Lu said placidly. "Ha, Elder Lu, don't be so distant. Look at my grandson and granddaughter," the elderly man introduced with a smile. Not bad." Elder Lu was expressionless. "Why aren't you greeting Elder Lu?" The elderly man looked at his grandchildren. "Hello, Elder Lu," the young man and woman greeted him simultaneously with a smile. Elder Lu nodded in response. "All right, Elder Lu, enough small talk for now." The elderly man started leading his grandchildren up the mountain. "I'm going to die from laughter. How could someone with looks like her show herself in public without any shame? What an eyesore." A young woman snorted behind the elderly man. "There are seriously all kinds of peculiarities in this world. What kind of place does she think Scarlet Flame's Academy is? How can some random nobody have the guts to come and enroll? And she even wants to become a student at Scarlet Flame's Academy. How preposterous." The young man also sneered. Chapter 1584. The two people didn't speak loudly, but Yuan Wan and Elder Lu could hear them clearly from behind them. Elder Lu turned to Yuan Wan with a frown. "Presumptuous, they're seriously too insolent. How dare they treat you like this?" Yuan Wan merely smiled without a care. Right now, she didn't come to enroll in Scarlet Flame's Academy as the president of the Fearless Alliance. She was just a normal person, so she didn't need to worry about those people's words. "Let's go," Yuan Wan suggested quietly. "All right." Elder Lu nodded. Since the president herself didn't say anything, he naturally wouldn't comment further. The flood of young men and women coming to Scarlet Flame's Academy to enroll continued to gush into the mountain in increasing amounts. Scarlet Flame's Academy had very strict student recruitment standards. Amongst these thousands of youths who came to enroll, only a handful would end up being chosen by the Academy. The status and reputation of mercenaries were extremely high in the independent state, but the type of mercenary academy they graduated from was still important. The independent state had countless mercenary academies, but only the three great academies, e.g. Scarlet Flames, had the most worth. Yuan was rather curious about the mercenary system, but her main objective for coming to Scarlet Flames Academy this time was to approach its headmaster and hope the headmaster could help her. Aside from seeing if she could recover her memory, Yuan had no other wishes. About an hour and a half later, Yuan and Elder Lu reached the top of the mountain. The peak was home to Scarlet Flames Academy's headquarters. As far as the eye could see, vast and imposing were the only descriptions its visitors could conjure up. However, ahead of them, Scarlet Flames Academy's grand, towering gates were tightly shut. There were dozens of elders and higher-ups of patrician families with their groups behind them waiting in front of the gates. Yuan and Elder Lu soon joined the crowd. Amongst the crowd, Yuan and Elder Lu appeared a bit peculiar. Yuan's ugly, heavy makeup was especially eye-catching. Does anyone and everyone seriously dare to come to Scarlet Flames Academy nowadays? A beautiful woman glanced at Yuan and snorted. Yuan furrowed her brows. Was her ugliness that fresh and unconventional? Or was she carrying a hatred-attracting halo and everybody was compelled to ridicule her? If she had known earlier, she would have just transformed into a man. Scarlet Flames Academy isn't a place someone like you can enter. Roll back to wherever you came from, and don't sully Scarlet Flames Academy's doors, the beautiful woman coldly said to Yuan. Insolence. Elder Lu grew furious immediately. Girl, do you know this is? Yuan lightly shook her head at Elder Lu before he could finish speaking. Her identity as the president of the Fearless Alliance absolutely couldn't be divulged unless it was a last resort. Otherwise, if Scarlet Flames Academy discovered she was the president of the Fearless Alliance, it would be useless even if she had recommendation letters from Yi Shuihan or the president of the Martial Arts Union, let alone Ji Shuran. The three great mercenary academies often used the Fearless Alliance as a negative example in lessons for their students. They had completely demonized Bai Feng as though she was the queen of devils in the independent state and attached extremely nefarious and evil labels to her. What? No, what about this little delinquent? The beautiful woman glanced at Elder Lu and snorted. Before the woman could finish speaking, a man in a black suit standing behind the woman coldly interjected, "Don't argue with other people." Chapter 1585, Young Master, what right does someone like her have to enter the Mercenary Academy? When you become a student here in the future, how could you be classmates with someone like her? The woman quietly protested. The man expressionlessly glanced at the woman. So you think just anyone can pass Scarlet Flames Academy's severe examination? Of course not. Even you weren't accepted by Scarlet Flames Academy last year, young master, the woman hastily replied. Even young Master Wang was rejected by Scarlet Flames Academy last year, so how could a delinquent like her get in? What kind of place is Scarlet Flames Academy? One of the holy sites of mercenaries. Thousands of people come here to undergo the examination each year, but how many are actually chosen? A rotund man inputted with a snicker. The beautiful woman immediately looked at Yuan with disgust. No status, no background, but a delinquent like you delusionally wants to enter Scarlet Flames Academy? What a joke. However, coming to Scarlet Flames Academy to have your eyes open should be enough for you to brag about for the rest of your life. Yuan shook her head inwardly. Was this woman an idiot? Why was she acting like a rabid dog? For someone like her, Yuan couldn't even muster a tinge of desire to respond to her, let alone argue with her. Strange, why are Scarlet Flames Academy's gates closed? At this moment, more young men and women arrived at the peak and were shocked by the sight of the closed Scarlet Flames Academy. A lot of people who came to take the exam entered already, so why did we get barred outside? Did we miss the time slot? Some people looked anxious. President, wait here a moment. I'll go and ask, Elder Lu respectfully said to Yuan. Sure. Yuan nodded. Elder Lu swiftly walked toward the academy. Registration for this year has concluded already. Come back next year, a plainly dressed middle-aged man aloofly said as he walked out from the academy when he saw Elder Lu looking around in front of the gates. It's done. Everyone was taken back. That's right. The middle-aged man said, Scarlet Flames Academy's recruitment has a time limit every year, and you've missed the time slot already. If you want to register, come back next year. How could that be? The beautiful woman from earlier marched forward. Our young master is the eldest young master of the Wang family. You must allow our young master to enter. The middle-aged man from Scarlet Flames Academy glanced at the woman detachedly. Are you joking with me? Don't be rude. The man, the aforementioned eldest young master, hastily walked forward and admonished the beautiful woman. Young Master Wang turned to the middle-aged man. I've come 2 years in a row already. Could you show some leniency and give me an opportunity to enter and register? Come back next year. The middle-aged man's face chilled a tad. Did this man and woman fail to understand human speech? The man frowned deeply but didn't dare to say anything else. Young master, forget it. Since Scarlet Flames Academy is so unreasonable, let's go to another mercenary academy. It's not like they're the only academy. It's their loss for rejecting you, young master, the woman coldly shouted. Don't talk nonsense. The man glanced at the woman. Many young men and women, who were turned away outside the door because they were late, immediately turned to look at young Master Wang and his maidservant. Chapter 1586. This young Master Wang's maidservant was rather brassy, willing to talk back to someone from Scarlet Flames Academy. Elder Lu hastily went up and smiled at the middle-aged man. Can you be a little flexible? My granddaughter traveled from afar and suffered a difficult journey to come up here. You missed the time, so you have to wait until next year, the middle-aged man said. But my granddaughter is super strong. Scarlet Flames Academy would obtain a treasure if you accepted her. Elder Lu ardently pressed. What a joke. She's the president of the Fearless Alliance. Scarlet Flames Academy really won't accept someone like her. Just because she didn't make it in time. When Elder Lu said that, a lot of the people around them broke into laughter. Ha, this elderly man is rather confident. Where did he get his courage? Even young Master Wang was rejected because he missed the time, let alone someone without status or background like her. Ha, elderly man, do you really know what kind of place Scarlet Flames Academy is? It's a holy site for mercenaries. A place where you need to kill people or get killed. It's not a school for learning normal subjects. Did you bring your granddaughter to the wrong place, elderly man? I think both this old man and his granddaughter are ignorant. They most likely thought Scarlet Flames Academy was a normal school. Old geezer, mercenary academies are where you issue assassinations or dangerous missions. Get it straight first. Even someone on young Master Wang's level could only consider themselves unlucky for missing the time, let alone your granddaughter. The beautiful woman contemptuously glanced at Yuan Wan and Elder Lu. Take a look at yourself first. Even our young master can't enter, yet you want to enter. You're trash at the bottom of the food chain. Yuan Wan didn't even look at the woman and walked straight toward the middle-aged man from Scarlet Flames Academy. Hello, Yuan Wan softly greeted. No matter what you say, it's futile, the middle-aged man returned impatiently. It's okay. Yuan Wan took out Ji Xiuran's recommendation letter and handed it to him. The middle-aged man furrowed his brows. What? You want to bribe me? Well, it's not quite a bribe. How about you take a look first? Maybe you'll let me enter after you see it, Yuan Wan replied with a smile. She didn't know whether Ji Xiuran's recommendation letter would prove useful, but she was just making a Hail Mary effort. The best scenario would be being allowed entry. If she wasn't, she would just have to return home. Soon, the middle-aged man opened the recommendation letter. A few breaths later, his expression abruptly changed. Shock surfaced in his eyes. This was a recommendation letter from Emperor Ji. Emperor Ji's personal seal was sitting at the bottom, so there couldn't be any mistake about it. This horrendously ugly woman in front of him was actually personally recommended by Emperor Ji. Furthermore, based on the letter's contents, Emperor Ji attached great importance to her. There were many instructors, even higher-ups, in Scarlet Flame's academy who had an immensely close relationship with Emperor Ji in the profit chain. Since Emperor Ji personally recommended her, it would be difficult to not do her this favor. Ha ha ha, a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. The middle-aged man clapped Yi Wanwan on her left shoulder. Miss, come, come, come. You and your grandpa can follow me inside. The sneer on every spectator's face froze, and disbelief rushed out. Thank you. This won't affect Scarlet Flame's Academy's rules, right? Yi Wanwan asked as she nodded. Chapter 1587, No. How could it affect Scarlet Flame's Academy's rules? Rules are dead, but people are alive, the middle-aged man said. Elder Lu beamed. Bro Flattop is truly worthy of being our president. What's Scarlet Flame's Academy? They still have to give her face. Under everyone's stunned gazes, the middle-aged man personally opened the gates for Yi Wanwan and allowed Yi Wanwan and Elder Lu inside. Why is she allowed to enter? The beautiful woman screamed angrily at the middle-aged man as she watched Yi Wanwan enter the academy. What? Do you have an objection? The middle-aged man coldly asked. Of course I do. Why did you allow trash like her to enter but not my young master? The woman scoffed. The middle-aged man glanced at the woman. Ha, miss, I reckon even your young master can't compare to a toe on that miss, let alone you. Can't compare to a toe of that woman? He's joking, right? Young master, this guard must have accepted a bribe from that bottom-tier trash, the woman indignantly complained to young Master Wang. Everyone looked pensive upon hearing that, almost believing her. That'd be the only way this would make sense, right? Otherwise, why was that woman allowed to enter? Insolence. A chilly glint flashed in the middle-aged man's eyes, and he took out his work ID card from his pocket. When everyone saw the ID card, shock overcame their faces. Damn, an instructor from Scarlet Flame's Academy, an instructor from Scarlet Flame's Academy would accept bribes. What kind of joke is that? Who is capable of bribing an instructor? My God. Just who is that ugly woman? She looks mediocre and ordinary, could the Scarlet Flame's instructor really be right? Even young Master Wang can't compare to a toe on that woman. That's too absurd, right? Ha, anyone with a mind can see that woman's identity must be special in order to force an instructor from Scarlet Flame's Academy to allow her inside to register even if he had to break his own rules. Where did young Master Wang's maidservant get the courage to provoke her? She seriously wouldn't even know how she died. Damn. That servant girl's words were so horrible earlier, but she didn't even look at her. Thinking about it now, that woman wasn't afraid of the Wang family, right? She completely ignored them. The difference in their levels was probably too dramatic, so that woman couldn't be bothered to pay attention to them. The beautiful woman's face was so dark that ink could drip from it as she maliciously exclaimed, "She's just bottom-tier trash. What status could she possibly have?" The instructor of Scarlet Flame's Academy looked at the woman. Miss, you have to have some manners and education even as a maidservant. Your head is full of air. Don't let your ignorance harm you and young Master Wang. I reckon you nearly caused the Wang family's destruction today. Your entire Wang family is less than a dog's fart in the eyes of that woman you keep calling ugly. You should thank the heavens that she treated you like air. Then the instructor snorted and opened the gates again before languidly entering. With a bang, the gates were closed again. How is that possible? The woman was akin to a deflated balloon. Tut tut tut, that ugly woman must be some fearsome big shot. I've only seen a dog growl at a lion, but I've never seen a lion growl at a dog. That saying is perfect for this. Chapter 1588, ha ha ha, young Master Wang, this maidservant must have served you quite well, since you brought her to this kind of place. However, you need to assess the situation first. Your Wang family will encounter a tragic fate if you offend someone you can't afford to offend. Young Master, the woman turned to young Master Wang, wanting to say something, but was greeted by a ruthless backhand from him. Young Master Wang's expression was dark. Just who in the world was that woman just now? Could she really bring catastrophe to the Wang family? Yi Wanwan and Elder Lu entered Scarlet Flame's academy. There were some differences between the academy and universities in China. The atmosphere was more intense. 1,000 or so young men and women who came to register were standing in the courtyard. Yi Wanwan followed the instructor into the crowd. These 1,000 or so people were separated into 10 groups that contained about 100 people. Each group headed toward different directions. Due to arriving with an instructor from Scarlet Flames, Yi Wanwan was placed into the first group. Soon, while following the lead of a Scarlet Flames instructor, Yi Wanwan and her group arrived at a large plaza. Most of the people in the first group were the children of prestigious patrician families in the independent state and knew each other to a certain extent. "Look," someone shouted, causing everyone to reflexively look behind them. A tall and slender young woman with good looks was slowly walking toward them. Meng Ku, the pearl of the Meng family's patriarch. The Meng family. Damn, that's some background. I heard Meng Ku was a martial arts genius and successfully finished a mission that was comparable to an A-level mission before becoming a mercenary. Meng Ku joined the group and nodded slightly at the Scarlet Flames instructor. Yi Wanwan surveyed her surroundings. It had to be said that Scarlet Flames Academy lived up to its name. Many of the people registering came from reputable backgrounds and were supposedly very talented too. "Ha, Elder Lu, you seriously didn't give up and really brought your granddaughter here?" Before Yi Wanwan could think anymore, the elder who ridiculed Elder Lu earlier sauntered toward them with his 2 grandchildren behind him. Elder Lu impatiently glanced at the elder, disinclined to waste his words. He didn't know what this old man was flaunting about. Elder Lu secretly snorted. If this old man knew his granddaughter was the president of the Fearless Alliance, would he still act so cocky? Quite a number of young men had surrounded Meng Ku already, acting like perfect flower guardians. "Silence," the Scarlet Flames instructor said as he walked to the front. "There are many seats in the plaza, find a place to sit." Everyone, including Meng Ku, located a seat and sat down. Soon, they all received an exam. This was the most basic exam. If they failed the exam, they would be evicted from Scarlet Flames Academy immediately. Yi Wanwan was bewildered as she stared at the contents of the exam. In the eyes of mercenaries, every faction was ranked, including the ancient clans, 4 great clans, the Fearless Alliance, etc. Aside from accurately labeling each faction's rank, there was also a lot of details about mercenary missions. "I don't understand anything," Yi Wanwan involuntarily facepalmed. She didn't do her homework. "You don't need to take it. Follow me." The Scarlet Flames Academy instructor walked to Yi Wanwan's side and took Yi Wanwan and Elder Lu out of the plaza. Chapter 1589. A moment later, Yi Wanwan and Elder Lu arrived at the registration spot for Scarlet Flames Academy. "What's your name?" an elderly man asked Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan thought for a moment and replied, "Yi Wanwan, and you?" The elderly man turned to Elder Lu. "Lu Dicheng," Elder Lu answered with a smile. "She's your granddaughter?" The elderly man was surprised. Yes, she's my granddaughter." Elder Lu nodded. "Your name is Lu Dicheng and her name is Yi Wanwan, but she's your granddaughter." The elderly man frowned. This child's father died when she was young, and her mother remarried, so her surname changed to Yi like her mother's," Elder Lu lied without blinking an eye. "All right." The elderly man had no choice but to accept this explanation. Yi Wanwan, since you were personally recommended by Emperor Ji, you don't need to participate in the examination. You will be a new student of Scarlet Flames Academy and a D-ranked mercenary. This is your uniform and mercenary ID. The elderly man handed the items to Yi Wanwan. Thank you. Yi Wanwan smiled. It had to be said that Ji Shuran's reputation was rather useful. Have the instructor lead you to your dorm room. Also, we've registered your family now, so your grandfather can leave, the elderly man instructed. After sending Elder Lu off, Yi Wanwan followed the Scarlet Flames instructor to her dorm room. Ha, Yi Wanwan, what's your relationship with Emperor Ji? The Scarlet Flames instructor asked on their way there. We're friends, Yi Wanwan answered. If you have time, help me do some referrals. I have a few good trades on my hand that Emperor Ji might be interested in. You know how us low-ranked instructors have a low income, the instructor said with a chuckle. I'll definitely refer you when I have a chance next time, instructor. As they conversed, they passed by the mansion quarters. Aren't these living conditions too good? Yi Wanwan was surprised. Did all Scarlet Flames Academy's students live in mansions? That's right. We're one of the 3 great mercenary academies, after all, the instructor replied. Which mansion do I live in then? Yi Wanwan was inexplicably expectant. Your ranking isn't high enough yet. These are all for mercenary students at a rank or above, the instructor said with a smile. I got happy for nothing. Soon, the instructor led Yi Wanwan to the dormitory quarters. They entered a shabby room with a simple and crude interior and 10 to 20 beds. Pick whichever bed you want, the instructor said. Us new students live here. Yi Wanwan was shocked. She freaking wanted to live in the mansion quarters. Even if her rank wasn't high enough, couldn't she at least have a single room? Not new students. It's the D-rank mercenaries who all live in this type of dormitory. Your dormitory is quite decent already, at least you have an electric fan. Yi Wanwan had no choice but to randomly choose a bed and place her luggage on it. Wait. Why are there men's shoes here? Yi Wanwan shouted. Oh, that's normal. Bunkhouses are all mixed-gender living, the instructor answered matter-of-factly. Mixed-gender living. Isn't this too unsafe and inconvenient? Yi Wanwan frowned deeply. The instructor examined Yi Wanwan for a moment before chuckling. Actually, you're rather safe. What I mean is that all mercenary academies are like this. Absolutely no accidents will happen. Your missions in the future will be more arduous, this is nothing. You should get used to it. Chapter 1590 Yi Wanwan swore to the lamp that she'd immediately, this instant, become a high-ranking mercenary and live in big mansions and villas. Wanwan, this is only temporary. You were personally recommended by Emperor Ji, so I believe it's only a matter of time before you become a high-ranking mercenary with your strength. At that time, you can live in a mansion, and high-level mercenaries like S-rank are also assigned a steward, servants, and training partner, along with a mansion, the instructor said enigmatically. I'm going to become an S-rank mercenary. How do I become a high-ranked mercenary? By finishing mercenary missions. Scarlet Flames Academy has a mission posting spot that issues missions from SS rank to D rank, and the higher the rank of the mission you finish and the more missions you finish, the faster you raise your rank, the instructor explained. The instructor didn't wait for her to respond and continued, you should familiarize yourself with your surroundings first. I'll take my leave now. You can come find me in the instructor's office if you have any questions. Then the instructor left. Yi Wanwan didn't linger either and exited the room. Yi Wanwan saw a lot of young men and women with different colored uniforms as she walked through campus. Yi Wanwan was a D-rank mercenary, so she was wearing a gray student uniform. S-rank mercenaries wore gold, A-ranks wore black, B-ranks wore white, C-ranks wore yellow, while D-ranks like Yi Wanwan wore gray. Yi Wanwan couldn't help but sigh at the distinct hierarchy inside mercenary academies. It was like a pyramid, and you had to use your strength to trade for anything you wanted to obtain. It was the most primitive rule and practice. However, Yuan still hadn't seen a single student wearing a gold uniform and only saw one A-rank mercenary. Soon, she arrived at the mission issuance area. There was a sea of people composed of mostly yellow-uniformed C-rank mercenaries and D-rank mercenaries with only a few mercenaries higher than C-rank. No one sent any odd looks at Yuan's ugly appearance. "Junior sister, are you new here?" While Yuan felt a bit lost, a gentle-sounding youth asked her with a smile. The youth wore a yellow uniform, which meant he was a C-rank mercenary. "Yeah," Yuan replied. "Alright, junior sister, I'm Han Yun. Let me introduce this place to you. We're at the missions area, where there are mercenary missions from SS rank to D rank. D rank missions are fairly simple while missions above D rank have a risk of losing your life if you fail. I suggest you start with a D rank mission to get used to things, junior sister," the youth, Han Yun, said. "Thank you. I understand." Yuan smiled gratefully at Han Yun. Then she turned to examine the mission board. SS rank mission, destroy the Fearless Alliance and obtain 10,000 mercenary honor points. S+ rank mission, escort a token and obtain 7,000 mercenary honor points. A rank mission, head to China and destroy the defected mercenary group. Obtain 5,000 mercenary honor points. S rank mission, obtain a personal ring belonging to Emperor Ji and obtain 10,000 mercenary honor points. S rank mission, obtain a strand of hair from Lord Azura and obtain 10,000 mercenary honor points. Yuan was dazed by the missions posted on the bulletin board and felt a little dizzy. What the heck were the missions requiring you to obtain Emperor Ji's ring and Lord Azura's hair about? How could they be S-rank missions and cause you to lose your life? Would they believe she could obtain those any time she wanted? Yuan was extremely curious about who issued a mission as strange as obtaining a strand of Lord Azura's hair and why it still wasn't revoked yet. Chapter 1591. Yuan laughed as soon as she kept looking down. A. Defeat Big Dipper from the Fearless Alliance, need video for proof. A. Defeat 7-star from the Fearless Alliance, need video for proof. A. Defeat an elite member of the Fearless Alliance, need video for proof. S. Steal something special from the Fearless Alliance's headquarters. S. Teach a lesson to any elder from the Fearless Alliance. Yuan couldn't stop laughing. These were the supposedly extremely dangerous missions. Junior sister, Han Yun frowned. Don't tell me you're interested in A-rank and even S-rank missions? Kind of. Yuan smiled. Quite a few gazes from nearby students shot toward them when they overheard Yuan and Han Yun's conversation. A junior sister who just entered Scarlet Flame's Academy actually said she was interested in S-rank and A-rank missions? Even if she wanted to die, she shouldn't do that. Even if A-rank mercenaries accepted A-rank missions, they still had an extremely high chance of failing and needed to operate in a team. S-rank missions probably needed a fully fleshed team. You needed to have a strategy on top of your martial arts skills, so it was nearly impossible to accomplish those by yourself. Junior, you should understand the concept of S-rank and A-rank before deciding. Don't be in a rush to die, a man said to Yuan expressionlessly. Yuan didn't mind the man's seemingly rude words since she was currently only a D-rank mercenary, so this man was probably advising her out of kindness. Yuan glanced at the other S-rank and A-rank missions. Those were the true suicidal ones she didn't dare to accept, but the ones like beating Big Dipper. They were practically missions tailored for her, alright? Aside from that, the mission in China suited her a lot too. Yuan happened to want to find a chance to return to China after enrolling in Scarlet Flame's Academy. If she accepted a mission to destroy the defected mercenaries in China, she'd kill 2 birds with 1 stone. However, she couldn't easily accept it until she figured out the number and rank of the defected mercenaries. Junior sister, you should look at the D-rank missions first. Those high-ranking missions are seriously really dangerous. Even formidable senior brothers who form teams to accomplish them might end up totally annihilated, Han Yun cautioned her again. New students were usually ignorant, so it wasn't their first time encountering this type of situation. There were arrogant new students every year who thought they were invincible in the world and accepted some extremely dangerous missions. There was once a D-rank mercenary who accepted a SSS rank mission, and then there was no more, and then that D-rank mercenary never returned. No worries, senior brother. I know myself, Yi Wanwan said. All right. Also, if you plan to start accepting missions, junior sister, you can tell me. I can accompany you on some so that they're safer. Han Yun smiled. Yi Wanwan couldn't help but take a few more looks at the youth. This youth was quite considerate and compassionate. A moment later, she turned back to the mission board. There were quite a few S-rank and A-rank missions she could accept and accomplish for sure. As for the A-rank mission in China, she would accept it if possible since she needed to return to China soon. Before Yi Wanwan could ponder about it anymore, the instructor from earlier appeared next to her. Why are you here? The new student's examination is finished, and they need to be assigned classes. Follow me, the instructor said to Yi Wanwan. Chapter 1592. Yi Wanwan nodded. She had no choice but to leave the mission post for now. Yi Wanwan followed the instructor to a hall. There was an elderly man in brocade robes standing inside the hall. Elder Gong, this is Yi Wanwan, the instructor introduced her to the elderly man with a smile. The elderly man, Elder Gong, aloofly surveyed Yi Wanwan and nodded. You're the one recommended by Emperor Ji Shiran, Elder Gong stated. Yes, Yi Wanwan nodded and answered honestly. I have a friendship with Ji Shiran. Since you were personally recommended by Ji Shiran, I'll accept you as a disciple in name, Elder Gong said indifferently. Ha, Elder Gong is one of the 4 elders at Scarlet Flames Academy, Yi Wanwan. The fact that you can become Elder Gong's disciple in name, it's really, the instructor marveled. Yi Wanwan, what's going on? Disciple in name? But I didn't say I wanted to become his disciple. Why did I randomly get accepted as someone's disciple? Yi Wanwan naturally knew the implications of being a disciple in name. It wasn't official and was solely in name. I hope you can train hard from now on and won't disgrace me. Elder Gong sighed and waved his hand, instructing the Scarlet Flames instructor to escort Yi Wanwan out. Yi Wanwan remained baffled after leaving the hall. Yi Wanwan, you should be thankful that you were recommended by Emperor Ji and that Elder Gong was friends with Emperor Ji some years ago. You just entered Scarlet Flames Academy but are able to place your name under Elder Gong already. This is truly rare. Some of Elder Gong personal disciples are mercenaries at S rank or higher, the instructor quietly said to Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan, I didn't want to become his disciple. I didn't do anything. However, Elder Gong is an aloof and proud person. Although he's one of the 4 elders, his personal disciples have always been suppressed by another elder's disciples, the instructor added. That's a pity. Yi Wanwan nodded. An elderly man at his age and status mostly focused his energy on his personal disciples, so he definitely wouldn't feel good that his disciples were being suppressed by another person's disciples. But, what did this have to do with her? Elder Gong once had a disciple who was a famous character and once created many records at Scarlet Flames Academy, but they disappeared afterward. Elder Gong has been searching for his missing disciple all these years but still hasn't found them, the instructor sighed. Who is that awesome? Yi Wanwan was curious. Why are you asking so many questions? You just enrolled, you'll definitely find out later on, the instructor said. After some walking, Yi Wanwan and the Scarlet Flames Academy instructor entered a classroom in the corner of the academy. This classroom was the D-rank mercenary class and the place for D-rank mercenaries to learn basic mercenary knowledge. You'll be in this class from now on. I need to inform you though, you might have been recommended by Emperor Ji, but you still have to abide by the rules at Scarlet Flames Academy. Don't cause trouble, especially since you're a new student, or else even Emperor Ji and Elder Gong can't save you, the instructor warned before leaving without looking back. Yi Wanwan stared after him for a moment before looking away and ambling into the D-rank mercenary classroom. As soon as Yi Wanwan entered the classroom, she discovered more than 100 people inside who were all sitting in their own seats and a middle-aged person on the podium, who was probably this class instructor. Chapter 1593. When Yi Wanwan entered the classroom, the middle-aged man at the podium instantly turned to her. "You just enrolled. Why are you late already?" The middle-aged man frowned. "Remember to be on time next time." "Yes," Yi Wanwan could only nod and agree. The middle-aged man immediately had her sit in her designated seat. The middle-aged man's lessons were merely about the division of factions in the independent state, the dangers of differently ranked missions, and the use of mercenary honor points. Every time you finished a mission, you would obtain mercenary honor points which could help raise your mercenary rank on top of other uses. Yi Wanwan listened carefully. She had been in the independent state for a long time, but she hadn't heard about the strict ranking hierarchy there until coming to Scarlet Flame's Academy. For example, if the Fearless Alliance was ranked by stars, it would be a 5-star faction while Emperor Ji and Azura would be considered 6-star factions. As for the ancient clans and the martial arts union, they could perhaps be elevated to 7 stars. After the lesson concluded, Yi Wanwan returned to her dormitory. A moment later, many strange men and women poured into the room like a tidal wave. Yi Wanwan glanced at them. There were about 12 people, half male and half female. "Shit, that scared the hell out of me," one of the young men exclaimed in shock after seeing Yi Wanwan on her bed. "Junior sister, isn't your heavy makeup too frightening?" the other D-rank mercenaries questioned. Yi Wanwan smiled faintly but didn't reply. There was only one old mercenary student in this dorm room, and the rest were new students. Yi Wanwan listened to everyone's introductions. Most of them were children from the independent state's patrician families. "Junior sister, what's your name?" the man named Li Xan asked Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan answered truthfully. "Yi Wanwan. Isn't your grandpa's surname Blue?" The man and woman in the neighboring bed looked perplexed. This duo were no strangers. Their grandfather was the elder who made cutting remarks toward Elder Lu earlier that day. The older brother was Zhou Tao and the younger sister was Zhou Fu. "My mom's surname is Yi," Yi Wanwan replied. "Ha! Yi Wanwan, I remember your grandfather is a member of the Fearless Alliance, right?" "The Fearless Alliance isn't anything good. You should advise your grandfather to leave the Fearless Alliance ASAP, Zhou Tao said. "Brother, her grandfather is so old, he'd probably starve to death if he left the Fearless Alliance, and he still has such an ugly granddaughter to raise." Zhou Fu snorted. Before Yi Wanwan could speak, Li Xin furrowed his brows. "Aren't you too freaking rude? What the hell does her looks have to do with you? Do you think you're good looking? Where does your superiority come from, huh, ugly woman? What did you say?" Zhou Fu was enraged instantly and glared at Li Xin. "What? You want to hit me? My older brother is a C-rank mercenary at this school. Why don't you and your brother try hitting me? Come. Hit me on the head. Do I need to find a brick for you?" Li Xin was radiating arrogance. "Forget it. Ignore this kind of person," Zhou Tao interjected with a furrow of his brows. Zhou Fu harshly glared at Li Xin but didn't say anything more. A C-rank mercenary wasn't someone they could afford to offend right now. Enough arguing. We're living with each other from now on and might have to leave our lives in each other's protection one day. What's there to argue about?" admonished the only senior mercenary in the dorm room. Following his scolding, everyone else stayed silent. Chapter 1594, Senior Brother, you've been at Scarlet Flame's Academy for 2 years now. Why are you still a D-rank mercenary? Li Xian asked inquisitively. The man shook his head and sighed. The missions are too difficult and hard to do. I can't trudge my way up. What's difficult about them? I've been at Scarlet Flames for 3 months now and have finished 4 D-rank missions already. One of the D-rank missions was freaking dangerous. I had to assassinate a son from a patrician family and nearly didn't make it back. Thank goodness I ran fast, Li Xian bragged. D-rank mission? A beautiful woman snorted. That's nothing. I accepted a S-rank mission 2 months ago. Everyone, including Yi Wanwan, turned to the woman. And then? Yi Wanwan was brimming with curiosity. And then, the woman smiled at Yi Wanwan with a tinge of embarrassment. And then I gave up. Yi Wanwan, are you joking with us? If you really finished a S-rank mission, you probably wouldn't be living here with us right now. Li Xian shook his head. Then he mysteriously asked everyone, have you seen the SS rank mission on the mission board yet? I saw it. It's eradicating the Fearless Alliance. What universal joke is that? Who is the Fearless Alliance? Their danger rating is 10 points, and Bro Flat Top is a demoness in the independent state. I heard she eats people. Exactly. Last time, the boss of Ironhead Gang went to seek revenge from President Fearless, and guess what happened? His 2 arms and 3 legs were all broken by her. I heard she even ate his brain. President Fearless is simply a pervert who's freaking strong. I heard only piece of shit can suppress her in the entire independent state. Yi Wanwan, she finally saw the power of rumors for herself. How did she freaking turn into this kind of pervert who even ate the brain of the Ironhead Gang's boss? She freaking released him, okay? That's nothing. Some time ago, a super awesome senior brother accepted a SS rank mission to assassinate the president of the Martial Arts Union. Guess what happened? Never mind, don't bother. That president looks like he's only in his 20s and has a bewitching face, but he killed that senior brother in a few strikes. I was nearby and saw it myself. It scared me to death. Li Xian exclaimed. The Martial Arts Union's president? What does he look like? Something like. Let me draw him for you guys. Li Xian took out a pen and paper and started drawing on the piece of paper. Everyone promptly evaluated the product upon finishing. This is, Yi Wanwan's brows furrowed as she stared at the portrait. The man in the portrait looked too similar to someone she knew. However, Yi Wanwan couldn't recall who it was for the time being. It was a pity that Li Xian's art skills were truly mediocre. Do you know? The major factions in the independent state are too messy. When worryless Nya from the Nya family went missing, she supposedly ran off to China with some wild man. Later, someone from the Nya family secretly sent assassins to China to kill her. Li Xian said. Keep bragging. If something this major was real, all of the independent state would have known about it by now. How would you know? A new mercenary snorted. Bragging your grandma's ass. One of the assassins is a sworn brother of mine, he told me himself. He also said that woman seems to have lost her memories, and can't remember who she is at all. She also got together with some wild man. Anyway, that's what happened, Li Xian exclaimed indignantly. Ha, keep bullshitting. Worryless Nya returned a long time ago and she's back with the Nya family right now. That sworn brother of yours is probably nothing but gas and hot air too. Forget it if you don't believe it then. Li Xian found this conversation dull and didn't want to keep wasting his words. Li Xian's words sent shock shooting through Yi Wanwan though. Chapter 1595 Yi Wanwan pensively looked at Li Xian with a furrow of her brows. Li Xian said worryless Nya appeared in China after her disappearance, and someone from the Nya family sent assassins with the intention of eradicating her at the root. Typically speaking, you should take this kind of matter with a grain of salt, but Yi Wanwan was intrigued. Li Xian, your sworn brother is an assassin? Yi Wanwan nonchalantly asked him with a smile on her lips. Li Xian became eager upon hearing her interest and quickly turned to Yi Wanwan. Yeah, I'm telling you, my brother graduated from Scarlet Flames Academy. He's awesome. But wait. Worryless Nya is in the independent state right now, so why are you saying Worryless Nya was in China and was hunted by mercenaries? Yi Wanwan asked. I don't know, that's what my brother said. It happened a long time ago, so maybe Worryless Nya returned from China. Who knows? Li Xian answered. Isn't Worryless Nya the pride of Scarlet Flames Academy? Your brother would dare to hunt Worryless Nya down despite her martial arts skills. Yi Wanwan looked skeptical. Didn't I mention it earlier? Worryless Nya probably lost her memory. Anyway, that's the truth about her martial arts skills, but she had to rely on someone else to save her. If it weren't for someone saving her, she would have croaked her last breath already. Li Xian pursed his lips. A round of mocking laughter rang in the room again after Li Xian spoke. Li family, I think both you and your brother are nothing but gas and hot air. Worryless Nya is the second miss of the Nya family. They would be scrambling to look for her, so why would they send someone to kill her? Right. At the very least, even if someone from the Nya family harbored ulterior motives and hired your brother, why would they tell your brother the real identity of the target? Were they an idiot? Li Xian's face swiveled from ashen and livid. He sounded a bit angry as he impatiently shouted, Shoo shoo shoo. Who's my brother? Why would he lie to me? You're just ignorant, so get lost if you don't believe me. I don't want to tell you anyway. I know more secrets than you can imagine. Ha ha ha, Li Xian, brag, keep bragging. What other news do you have? Tell us. Fine, Li Xian mysteriously looked at them. You know how Lord Azura, Emperor Ji, and Bro Flattop are in the independent state? Nonsense, who doesn't know them? Zhou Fu chortled. I'm telling you. Emperor Ji and Lord Azura are actually a couple. Those two are lovers, and the one who was their matchmaker was President Fearless, Bro Flattop, Li Xian said. Another round of guffaws spread through the room. Fucking Big Dipper. He spread everything on the outside. Even a mercenary student knows about it now. Fine. Forget it if you don't believe it. Don't talk to me next time, I don't want to talk to you. Li Xian flicked his hand and turned around, lying on the bed before covering his head with his comforter. Yi Wanwan's mind was in turmoil. The amount of information Li Xian dumped on her was colossal. She needed to find a chance to examine it all. The next morning, everyone woke up early. After making up their beds, they all headed to the D-rank mercenary classroom. Yi Wanwan originally wanted to find Li Xian and question him further about yesterday's information, but he was extremely fast and disappeared to the classroom in the blink of an eye. Chapter 1596. Yi Wanwan was forced to follow him. Li Xian, Yi Wanwan called out. Li Xian turned around and looked at her. What? Come. Come sit next to me, Yi Wanwan smiled at him. To her surprise, this smile caused Li Xian to shiver and vehemently shake his head. Hurry, come here. No one is sitting here, Yi Wanwan pressed. No. It's fine, junior sister, I'm fine where I am, Li Xian replied. I want to ask you something. Yi Wanwan furrowed her brows. Junior sister, what could you possibly need to ask me? You can't possibly like me, right? Junior sister, I have someone I like, and my child can call me Dad already, Li Xian hurriedly said. Yi Wanwan, before Yi Wanwan could say anything more, an instructor entered the classroom. Today is the second day for many of our new students. I need to tell everyone some rules for the low-ranking mercenaries at Scarlet Flames Academy. The instructor swept his eyes over the classroom. D-rank mercenaries are issued 3 missions every month, but the rank of the mission doesn't have any restrictions. If you don't finish 3 missions, you will be expelled by Scarlet Flame's Academy. Compulsive missions. Yi Wanwan looked pensive. Compulsive missions were directly issued to a person by the Academy, and the person had to finish them and couldn't decline them. If they didn't finish them within the required time, it would be considered a failure. However, if they failed twice in a row or they purposefully didn't try to finish them, they'd be expelled from Scarlet Flame's Academy. Your mission will be issued sometime soon, so make the necessary preparations, the instructor continued expressionlessly. About half an hour later, the Scarlet Flame's instructor turned and left. Yi Wanwan stood up and marched toward Li Xian, grabbing his shoulder from behind. Why are you running? Why are you chasing me? Li Xian retorted. If you didn't run, why would I chase you? Yi Wanwan frowned deeply. If you didn't chase me, why would I run? Li Xian argued righteously. Fine, you win. I need you for respectable business. Yi Wanwan dragged Li Xian back to her seat. Junior sister. Seriously, don't look for me for respectable business, I'm not anyone respectable. You should find respectable people to do respectable business, Li Xian frantically shook his head. Stop blabbing. I have a mission to issue. Mission? Li Xian was startled, confused by her words. That's right. Yi Wanwan nodded with a grin. Didn't you say your brother graduated from Scarlet Flame's Academy? Yeah, that's right. Li Xian nodded. Then help me call your brother here. I have a decently priced mission for your brother to do, Yi Wanwan said. What mission? What price? Li Xian was instantly interested. Don't ask too many questions. But you will also get a reward for calling him here. I'll give you this sum. Yi Wanwan extended 5 fingers out. 50,000. Li Xian exclaimed. However, Yi Wanwan shook her head. 5,000. Li Xian was puzzled. Yi Wanwan shook her head again. 500, no can do. I've never seen someone as stingy as you. Go find someone else. Li Xian lost interest immediately and turned to leave. I suddenly miss nameless Nye. Chapter 1597, Don't Leave. Yi Wanwan grabbed Li Xian by his shoulder again. 5,000. 10,000. Li Xian countered. 8,000. Yi Wanwan frowned. Fine, 8,000 then. You have to give me 4,000 as down payment first, Li Xian agreed. Yi Wanwan had no choice but to transfer 4,000 to him via phone. Wait for my news. Li Xian then left with his phone in hand. Less than 10 minutes later, Li Xian returned and said, my brother agreed. He'll come over later. All right. Yi Wanwan smiled. It'd be easy as long as he came. Yi Wanwan didn't have a chance to say anything else before 3 people entered the classroom. These 3 people were all wearing yellow uniforms, signifying their statuses as C-rank mercenaries at Scarlet Flame's Academy. Everyone was startled by the appearance of C-rank mercenaries. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Zhang Zunyan, a C-rank mercenary and also your senior, the man greeted with a light chuckle as his eyes swept over the room. Zhang Zunyan continued, you're new students, so you need more training. Hence, you'll be doing some of the trivial, menial missions the Academy gave us. Yi Wanwan's lips twitched. Aren't they just here to freaking bully new students? What do you mean you'll give them to us? A new student coldly said, they're missions the school gave you, not us. Why should we help you do them? That's right. We have our own missions to do. It's not like you'll pay us to do missions for you. You, come here. Zhang Zunyan smiled brightly and hooked his finger at the mercenary doubting him. What? The new student walked forward. Slap. Zhang Zunyan didn't say anything. With a smile still on his face, he ruthlessly slapped the new student on the face. The crisp sound echoed in the room, and the new student spun in his spot from the force of the slap. You just came to the school, and you're only a new student, but you're already talking back to your seniors? Zhang Zunyan asked with a smile. Blood trickled out of the new student's lips, and he clutched his face but didn't dare to say anything more. Upon seeing no other questioning, Zhang Zunyan and his cohorts nodded with satisfaction. This is how it should be. New students should be afraid of hardship and should do more things within their capabilities and train themselves. This is for your own good. Senior brother is right. My sister and I absolutely agree with you. You should tell us whatever orders you have, senior brother, and we assure you will finish them. Zhou Tao and Zhou Fu walked in front of Zhang Zunyan and nodded cheerfully. Very good. Zhang Zunyan's lips curled up. How about this? You two performed well, so you'll help me monitor these people. You'll come and inform me about anyone who's disobedient and unwilling to do the missions. Understood. Zhou Tao and Zhou Fu became joyful. That's not a mission at all. It's too simple. It looks like Zhang Zunyan is feeling merciful after noticing our compliance. Understood. Don't worry, senior brother Zhang, we'll definitely accomplish our mission. Zhou Tao nodded frantically. As for the rest of you, Zhang Zunyan looked at everyone else and issued a handful of average difficulty D-rank daily missions. After becoming a C-rank mercenary, you had to finish daily missions every day, and some C-rank mercenaries would toss these missions to D-rank mercenaries. Most D-rank mercenaries wouldn't dare to object and would do as instructed. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.